tam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripatamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Anything for discussion today?
Yes, bro. We have one online question.
Online question. Okay.
Yeah. So if our soul is spiritual, then how a soul can experience happiness? How something material sense object give happiness to our soul, although such pleasure is temporary?
So if we are spiritual, then how do we experience material happiness and distress? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that yehi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya yevate. And adyantavantaha kaunteya nateshu ramate buddhaha. Basically what Krishna is saying, whatever we experience as happiness and distress within this material world arises out of contact between the senses and the sense objects. The contact between the senses and sense objects is interpreted as happiness or distress by us according to the conditioning that we have undergone under the influence of the three modes of material nature, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. The influence of these three modes of material nature make us like something and dislike something. When we like something, when we like a certain sense object, when the senses contact that sense object, we interpret that as happiness. The same object, if we have a value system inculcated in our mind by the three modes of material nature, which makes us dislike that object whenever the sense objects come in touch with that. When the senses come in touch with that sense object, we interpret it as distress. Actually speaking, whether it is happiness or distress, Krishna says, dukkha yonaya yevate. Even the happiness that we, so-called happiness that we experience when the senses come in touch with sense objects, that is also a source of distress only. Why? Why do we say it is distress only? Because there is some experience of happiness. If somebody comes and puts a gulab jamun in my mouth, there is some happiness I experience. You cannot say it is distressful. But then Krishna says it is ultimately it ends in distress because adyantavantaha kaunteya. Such happiness has a beginning and has an end. It is not unlimited. It is not eternal. Therefore, when that happiness ends, we feel distress on account of ending of that happiness. And therefore, we are constantly caught up in the cycle of hankering and lamentation. Hankering and lamentation, what is this hankering and lamentation? We keep hankering that I want this, I don't have this, I want this. And when I get that, I feel happy. And then at some point of time or the other, the object, we lose it. Nothing is eternal in this world. Everything is temporary. Even our own body is temporary. Everything that we possess, ultimately one day it has to be destroyed. And when we lose it, we start lamenting. Oh, I had this, I lost it. Therefore, even an object of happiness will eventually become a source of distress for us. We have to understand that actually all this perception of happiness and distress is all dependent upon our conditioning. Whatever we have taught our mind accordingly, it gives that kind of emotional response. This happiness and distress is just an emotional response of the mind according to the conditioning that it has been subjected to. If we are conditioned to drinking alcohol, what will happen? Whenever we get an opportunity to drink alcohol, we feel very happy. Now the same conditioning, if we change it, same drunkard, you pick him up, reform him, and make him understand the evils of drinking and the higher spiritual principle, the higher pleasure that we can experience by avoiding alcohol, then what happens is, when that person starts chanting Hare Krishna and he becomes spiritually established, then what happens is, the same bottle of alcohol, when he sees, it will be distressful for him. It's all conditioning of the mind. In reality, there is no happiness or distress in this material world. It is all our concoction. Due to our attachment to our certain desires, we experience this happiness and distress. Although the spirit soul is spiritual in nature and nothing material can affect it, we still experience this happiness and distress. Therefore, the Bhagavatam says, all happiness and distress we experience in this material world is superficial. They are in reality not affecting us. They are in reality not affecting us. We assume that it is affecting us. Because of our conditioning, we think like that. If we lose money, if a person is very much attached to his money, when he loses that money, he becomes very morose. Oh, today Russia has invaded Ukraine. There is a big fall in the stock exchange, and thousands of rupees of my shares value has gone down, and I have lost several lakhs of rupees. Person can become very despondent because of that. Now suppose there is a Vairagi, there is a sannyasi. Somebody has come and donated some shares to him. He is not even bothered. Somebody came and gave some piece of paper. He has kept that. Now if the Sensex goes down, he is not bothered. If the Sensex goes up and his share value appreciates double, triple times, he is not feeling elated. What use it as for some piece of paper? It is useless for me. For him it is useless. Therefore he does not feel anything about it. It is all a matter of conditioning. We have to understand that because our heart is covered by the ignorance that I am this body, because of that, we identify ourselves with the bodily pleasures and distresses. We think, I am experiencing pain, I am experiencing distress, I am experiencing pleasure. Why? Because of our bodily identification, although we are spiritual. When this ignorance is removed, when this misconception that I am this body is removed, when we understand that this body is just like a dress for me, it is like a vehicle. Something happens to the body, it doesn't mean that it has happened to me. When we understand this, then what happens is, we no longer become affected by the pleasures and pains of the body. Therefore, we have to understand that the root cause of the spirit soul identifying itself with material pleasure and pain, which actually is not applicable to it, is simply because of spiritual ignorance. The moment we come in touch with a spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada and start taking his instructions, start reading his books, and understand that I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, then what happens is, then we will see very quickly, we will become indifferent to the bodily pleasures and pains. In fact, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that if we have understood this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita properly, na dukkhena gurunapi vichalyate. Even in the greatest calamity, he is not affected. He is not overly distressed in front of material calamities. And at the same time, labha, any great benefit comes to him. There is a windfall. There is some great treasure that he gets. He will not get very elated. Because for him, He has got the greatest treasure of the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. Everything else pales into insignificance. Na manyate adhikam. He never considers anything of greater value than the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, than the opportunity to chant Hare Krishna and render devotional service to Krishna. Simply, if we take up the process of chanting Hare Krishna and reading Prabhupada's books, very quickly we can see through this illusory happiness and distress of this material world. Until and unless we come to the platform of knowledge, as long as we are in the ignorance that I am this body, we will continue to be affected by the pleasures and distresses of this body. That is how it is. Therefore, it is called illusion. In the Bhagavad Gita, as well as in the Vedic scriptures, everywhere it is called Maya. Maya means that which is not. We have accepted that which is really not myself as myself. And therefore, in that illusion, what happens is, all pleasures and pains also I accept as reality. Once I become situated in real knowledge, then what happens is, I understand all this is illusion. And once you understand it is illusion, it will not affect you. Just like suppose in a dream, you get a dream that you are a king and you are sitting in the royal throne which is full of gold and a lot of valuable diamonds are decorating that throne, and there are a lot of servants coming and offering various valuable dishes to you, and there are so many other subordinate kings coming and offering you gold and ornaments and all that. Suddenly your dream breaks and you open up. Will you start jumping and dancing? Oh, I become a king, I become a king. What will you say? Arey Baba, some dream, useless dream. Chalo, come back to reality. Let's get to job. We don't attach any importance to such a dream. Similarly, in the dream, sometimes we get some nightmares. Tiger is chasing me, pouncing upon me. Or somebody has attacked me and he is cutting off my head. And then suddenly the nightmare breaks and we open. What happens? Do we start crying, oh, my head is getting cut, oh, tiger is attacking me. On the other hand, came back to reality, that illusion, crazy, some nightmare I had. Don't know what's the problem here. We don't attach value to dreams. Why? Because we know that it's just illusory. It has no factual significance. Similarly, when we understand that we are currently living in an illusory world, where I'm thinking I'm a man, I'm an Indian, I'm a woman, I'm young, I'm old, etc. When we understand that all this is illusion and we have there is another reality which I have forgotten. When I wake up to that reality, that I'm a spirit soul, I'm servant of Krishna, and there is a spiritual world where real life is there, where I have a real body, real senses, real experiences, unlike this material world. And when I wake up to that reality, then whatever happens in this world, illusory. What significance it has? It has no factual significance to me. Then we become detached from the pains and pleasures of this body. Unless we realize that I'm a servant of Krishna, I'm a devotee of Krishna, and I'm an eternal soul, independent of this body, we cannot become free from our attachment to the desires and to the pains and pleasures of the body. I hope that answers the question. Anybody else? Yes, please. Can switch it on.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, please.
In Rameshwaram, there is a very famous Shiva Temple. The pastime behind that temple is Lord Rama, when he was in search of Sita, he worshipped Shiva deity there. So now Rama is considered to be an avatar of Lord Krishna.
Yeah.
So, and he is also superior to Lord Shiva.
Yes.
So in that case, why did Lord Rama worship Lord Shiva? Is there any reason behind it?
The Lord, whenever the Supreme Lord Krishna or his incarnations come to this material world, they execute various pastimes. And when they execute these various pastimes, Lord Krishna and his incarnations have various purposes to fulfill from those pastimes. From a single pastime, the Lord will achieve many objectives. When Lord Ramachandra went to Rameswaram and he was about to cross the ocean and go into Lanka and attack Ravana, Ramachandra knew that Ramana is a great devotee of Lord Shiva. Therefore, Lord Ramachandra meditated upon Lord Shiva. By doing that, he was giving him a message that I am going to now attack your devotee and kill him. He was giving advance information. If Lord Shiva is superior and Ramachandra was inferior to him, how could Lord Ramachandra kill Ramana? In fact, when the battle between Lord Ramachandra and Ramana, towards the end of it, when Ramana himself came on the battlefield, and both of them were fighting, Lord Ramachandra's arrows completely demolished Ravana's chariot. Chariot was broken, charioteer was killed, the horses were killed, and Ravana's armor was broken, his bow was broken, he was not able to do anything. At that time, Lord Ramachandra fixed the last arrow, the final arrow to be, which would behead Ravana. At that time, Ravana understood, oh, now I'm in a really dangerous position. I'm going to lose my life. So immediately he started calling out to Lord Shiva. He started calling out loudly to Lord Shiva for protection. At that time, Lord Shiva was sitting in Kailasa with Parvati. And what was Lord Shiva's response? He was silent. He was able to hear in Kailasa. Ramana is crying and he is yelling and he is really shouting for help. But he was unmoved. Lord Shiva was sitting silently. Parvati Devi looked at Lord Shiva. She was thinking, my husband will get up now and he will go, he will do something. But he's sitting silently. Ramana is going on crying and Lord Shiva is sitting silently. She is also waiting, nothing is happening. Then Parvati Devi asked Lord Shiva, my dear Lord, your devotee is crying for your help. What are you simply sitting here for? Why don't you go and do something? Wife, no. Naturally, she will talk to the husband like that only. Why don't you go and do something? Why are you sitting silently here? Go, no, your devotee is calling. Then Lord Shiva looked at her and said, Lord Ramachandra has decided to kill Ravana. Now, beach mein jaake main kya karunga? What will I go there and do? Lord Ramachandra has decided, nothing I can do. Lord Shiva raised his hand. He could not do anything because Lord Ramachandra had already informed him. See, I'm going to kill Ramana, so I'm keeping you informed. Lord Ramachandra has decided. Once Lord Ramachandra has decided, Lord Shiva cannot do anything. Rakhe Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rakhe Ke. If Krishna has decided that I'm going to protect someone, no one can, even one hair on the head of that person, nobody can harm. Just like Prahlad Maharaj. Krishna decided, I'm going to protect Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj is not going to die. What all Hiranyakashipu did not do. Poor fellow, finally, by the time he finished all his torture, he must have been ripping out all his hair. Nothing is happening. Poisonous snakes are not working. But his soldiers' spears are not working. Elephants are not able to trample. He is being thrown from the top of a cliff. Nothing is happening. He is putting him into a pot of boiling oil. Nothing is happening. He told his sister to take him on his lap and sit on the pyre and wear the cloth which would protect her. That wind came, took that cloth and put it on Prahlad Maharaj, and she got burnt to death. Prahlad Maharaj came out unharmed. Finally, he told his wife, Prahlad Maharaj's mother, give him poison in front of me. I want to see how he will survive. That also nothing happened. Practically, he must have been really tearing out his hair. What is happening here? Nothing is happening. Why? Because Krishna had decided, I am going to protect him. Nothing could harm him. On the other hand, Krishna wants to kill someone. Ramachandra has decided, I am going to kill Ravana. Not even Lord Shiva can do anything. Mare Krishna Rakhe Ke. This is the reality. Therefore, we have to understand that Lord Ramachandra meditating on Lord Shiva is not in the way we meditate. In fact, what is the benediction Lord Shiva gave to Ramachandra? Ramachandra meditated on Lord Shiva. Okay, accepted. Now, whenever somebody meditates on Lord Shiva, they'll ask for some benediction. Lord Shiva will come and give benediction. What benediction Lord Shiva gave to Rama? Did he give anything? Did he appear before him? We don't find any mention of anything like that. Why? Because Lord Ramachandra meditated, he informed Lord Shiva, I'm going to kill him. Over. Ho gaya. Kaam ho gaya. These pastimes of the Lord, sometimes the Lord engages in pastimes to bewilder those who do not want to surrender him also. The Lord wanted to inform Lord Shiva. He could have informed in many ways. But he did it in this way. He installed a murti of Lord Shiva and meditated and then conveyed it, so that those who are engaged in sense gratification and who don't want to surrender to Lord Ramachandra will get bewildered and they will continue their sense gratificatory activities by worshipping Lord Shiva. In fact, the very word Rameshwara means what? Means he whose Ishvara is Rama. Lord Shiva, whose Ishvara is Rama, is Rameshwara. So therefore, we have to understand that people think Rameshwara means the Ishvara of Rama. That's not what it means. What it means is he whose Ishvara is Lord Rama. How the Lord also twists things, you see. If you are a devotee, you can, if you are under the guidance of a proper Vaishnava Acharya, you can understand the Shastras. Otherwise, you will get bewildered and you will continue your sense gratificatory activities and you will continue to remain bound to this material world. The Lord, when he performs his pastimes, he also does various things which are bewildering for the souls, conditioned souls who are not surrendered to him also. Like Lord Krishna, so many things he did which are bewildering. When Shalva attacked Dwaraka, Krishna was fighting with Shalva. And then Shalva went into the city of Dwaraka and what he did, he brought a Maya Vasudeva. It was not really Vasudeva. He brought a Maya Vasudeva, an illusory form of Vasudeva, brought in front of Krishna and said, Krishna, look at your father. Cut off his head. See, I killed your father. Then he put the dead body into his vehicle and went off. And Krishna started sitting there and crying, oh, I could not protect my father. How can Krishna come under illusion? How can Krishna come under ignorance? How can Krishna come under distress? He is crying. This is a greatly bewildering pastime of Krishna. Ordinary people, when they hear it, they cannot understand it. They think, oh, Krishna has also come under illusion. This is just a pastime of the Lord, because to bewilder the atheists and to not give them the conviction that Krishna is a supreme person, Krishna enacts such pastimes. Therefore, the Lord, whenever he conducts some pastimes, he has multiple objectives behind that. And the Lord has his ways of doing things. Only when we approach Vaishnava Acharyas, we can understand the real meaning behind those activities. Is that okay? Any other question, please? Yes, please. Here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, here Prabhupada said, and in our literature we say like Hare Krishna Kirtan or chanting is enough for our spiritual life.
Yes.
But still, why do we have like this deity worship and festivals, these things? And
Yes.
also we are encouraging people, even the devotees who are chanting 16 rounds, we are encouraging them to go and attend that one. So is there any specific reason? And Yaga Desi Vrata, everything we are forcing. I mean, we are saying, instructing.
Yes.
Any specific reason?
Yes.
Is there for this? Yeah.
Why are we engaging in deity worship, following festivals, following Ekadashi? Why don't we sit and morning to night sit and chant Hare Krishna? What is the need for engaging in activity, any activity other than chanting? 24 hours we'll sit and chant. Okay, 6 hours, 7 hours sleep, rest of the day sit and chant. We can do that, no? Now, Haridas Thakur was doing that. 22 hours in a day he was chanting. So why don't we also do that? Actually, the point is that we have to understand that devotional service to Krishna, bhakti to Krishna, is performed on the transcendental platform. To render devotional service to Krishna, bhakti yoga to Krishna, it requires very high qualification. One must be completely detached from this material sense gratificatory activities. One must have no desire to enjoy the fruits of one's actions. One must be completely above the bodily platform of life. One must have realized that I am a spirit soul. So many qualifications are required. Krishna never accepts devotional service unless and until one is completely pure. This is the reality. But then, we are not on that platform. We are not pure devotees. We are still conditioned. One small, pin will prick our finger, we'll get upset. Oh, today pin pricked my finger. Today is inauspicious. My day started very badly. That's our nature. Therefore, that means we have to be purified to be able to become qualified to chant Hare Krishna mantra. Chanting Krishna's holy name also requires very high elevated status in spiritual life. But in Kali Yuga, the process for coming to that elevated stage doesn't exist. In the earlier yugas, people would first engage in Karma Yoga, purify themselves, come to Jnana Yoga, purify themselves, come to Ashtanga Yoga, purify themselves, then they would start executing Bhakti Yoga. That is why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudevaha Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabaha. After many, many births of cultivating spiritual life like this, one comes to the point of rendering devotional service by surrendering completely to Krishna, saying that Krishna, you are everything. And Samahatma Sudurlabaha, extremely rare to find such a person. So, to find a person who is chanting Hare Krishna mantra, very, very rare. In Kali Yuga, the process of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga cannot be practiced due to various reasons. Society is not favorable. People who have that knowledge don't exist. You will find all sorts of quacks, but you will not find anybody giving the real knowledge. We are so much in the fruity mentality. So many, obstacles are there. Practically not possible to practice these things in Kali Yuga. Therefore, in Kali Yuga, there is an alternative method given for our purification to give us the authority to chant Krishna's holy name. What is that process? That process is to chant Hare Krishna mantra according to a numerical strength. Chanting Hare Krishna mantra does not need to be done with numerical strength. Arjuna was not sitting and chanting 16 malas. Yashodamai was not sitting and chanting 16 malas or 64 malas. They were not doing any malas. But they were definitely chanting Krishna's holy name and enjoying that. The reason why they were not doing it according to numerical strength, because they are on that pure platform where they can chant, they have the adhikara to chant Krishna's holy name properly. In our current state, we don't have that. Therefore, we get the adhikara to chant from the Guru. The Guru, our Guru Maharaj, our spiritual master Srila Prabhupada has ordered you have to chant Hare Krishna mantra 16 malas. I am ordering you, you have to chant. Therefore, we get the adhikara to chant. Now, just having that adhikara to chant on the basis of the order of the spiritual master alone is not enough. We also need to purify ourselves so that we come to the stage of chanting purely also. That purificatory process is the process of deity worship. The purificatory process is the process of sadhana. We are sadhakas. Sadhaka means we have a certain sadhana to follow. Arjuna did not have to get up for Mangalarti every day. Right? Yashodamai doesn't have to. Nanda Maharaj doesn't have to, because they are Siddha Purushas. They are already perfected beings. Whereas we are not Siddha Purusha. We are sadhakas. Therefore, we have a sadhana to perform. We have a certain Mangalarti to be attended to. We have to follow Ekadashi Vrata. When Janmashtami comes, we have to fast. By all these things, by all these activities, we are purifying ourselves and making ourselves more and more qualified to chant Krishna's holy name. Therefore, there are two processes to be followed for our going back to Godhead. One is called Bhagavata Vidhi, another is called Pancharatriki Vidhi. The Pancharatriki Vidhi constitutes the deity worship, the process of deity worship, engaging in arati, offering bhoga, and observing festivals, having a Ratha Yatra, having Pallaki Utsav, etc. These are all Pancharatriki Vidhi, meant to purify us so that when we follow the Bhagavata Vidhi, we will be able to do it correctly. Bhagavata Vidhi means Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnoho Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam Cha. The process of chanting and hearing and remembering is the process of Bhagavata Vidhi. Bhagavata Vidhi means the process of devotional life. Now, the devotional life, when the pure devotees like Arjuna, Yashodamai, Nanda Maharaj, and all these personalities, when they are performing, they are doing it with full love for Krishna. The motivation for them to chant Krishna's holy name is love for Krishna. In our current state, we don't have the taste to chant Hare Krishna mantra. We don't have the love to chant Krishna's holy name like that. As Purnamasi says in the Vidagdha Madhava, Tunde Tandavini Vitanute Tundavali Labdhaye. Whenever I chant, Purnamasi is saying, whenever I chant Krishna's holy name, whenever Krishna's holy name manifests itself on my tongue, Tunde Tandavini, when the holy name of Krishna starts dancing, Tunde Tandavini, when it starts doing Tandava, dance on my tongue, Tunde, Ratim Mitanute Tundavali Labdhaye, I develop the desire to have millions of tongues. With this one tongue, how much will I chant Krishna's holy name? I want millions of tongues so that with all of them I can chant Krishna's holy name. And not only that, Karna Kroda Kadambini Ghatayate Karnarbudebhyah Spriham. When I chant Krishna's holy name and I hear Krishna's holy name, when Krishna's holy name enters my ear, Karna Kroda Kadambini, when the holy name of Krishna enters the holes of my ear, enters the ear holes of mine, what happens is Karna Arbudebhyah Spriham Ghatayate. Arbuda means 100 crores is called Arbuda. I develop when Krishna's holy name enters my ears, I develop a desire to have hundreds of crores of ears, so that with all of them, I can hear Krishna's holy name. Only with 2 ears, how much I can hear? And Cheta Prangani Sangini Vijayate, what is that? Sarvendriya Karma. When that holy name of Krishna enters my heart through my ear, all my senses, they become stunned. When I hear Krishna's holy name, when I chant Krishna's holy name, my hands stop working, my eyes stop blinking, I become stunned. My legs cannot move, I just become stunned like this. And then Purnamasi says, Na jane janito kiyadbir amritaihi krishneti varnadvayi. This two varnas, two syllables which have created this word Krish and Na. These two syllables, the combination of these two syllables creating the word Krishna, Krishneti Varnadvayi. This combination of these two syllables creating this word Krishna, I don't know, Kyadbir Amritahi Janitaha, I don't know from which nectar it has born out. It is so sweet. So this is the experience of a pure devotee when he is chanting Krishna's holy name. When we chant Krishna's holy name, what happens? When we chant our 16 malas, we are waiting. When will this chanting Hare Krishna mantra end? We are not developing that desire. I should have millions of tongues to chant, millions of ears to hear. None of these things. We are not on that level, no? The real platform of chanting Hare Krishna mantra is this. Therefore, we have to understand a lot of purification that we have to undergo to be able to really chant Krishna's holy name. Therefore, to bring us to that platform, to that level, where we have taste, ruchi for chanting Krishna's holy name, the Pancharatriki Vidhi, the Pancharatriki Vidhi is essential. Deity worship is essential. By going on engaging in deity worship, that dormant love for Krishna which is lying within our heart will get awakened, and then we will be able to chant Krishna's holy name properly. Otherwise, artificially, if we sit quietly and don't take up the process of deity worship and we simply sit and chant Hare Krishna mantra, it will be artificial. We will only think of the opposite sex. That's the only thing that will happen. Lust will pervade our heart. Therefore, that kind of chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, to become an imposter, Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, one should not become an imposter. What is that imposter? Sitting and engaging in meditation, but in the mind, externally being very renounced, internally in the mind, all sense gratificatory thoughts are going on. If we don't want to become an imposter, if we want to become a sincere spiritualist, then we have to sweat it out for Krishna. We have to engage in practical devotional service. As Krishna says in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, karma indriyehi karma yogam asaktaha. We have to begin with karma indriyas, with our hands, legs, voice. We have to engage them in Krishna's service. Then we will become eligible to chant Krishna's holy name purely. And then the taste for chanting Hare Krishna mantra will come. Therefore, to bring us to that platform, the Pancharatrike Vidhi of deity worship and various festivals, fasting, all these things are essential. Is that okay? Yes, please. You wanted to ask a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
My name is Vijay.
Yes.
I would like to share my personal experience with Krishna consciousness. Since my childhood, I had a connection with Krishna. I can say it's a kind of personal connection. I never, went to ISKCON temple before, but I used to hear a lot of Krishna's chants every time. When I hear Krishna chants, I don't know, I cry. I couldn't control the tears. Like when I think him, I used to cry. It's kind of fear of, like pain of separation. I never felt anything in my life which is very important than that. That feel of, devotion within me affected me. Like I'm not doing enough to Krishna.
Yes.
He's communicating with me. I sense that he's around me everywhere, but I'm not seeing him. He's trying to communicate him with me. Like I just contaminate with materialistic desire. Sometimes I neglect him, and I feel like I'm not, I'm not doing worth for that, for the Krishna. What my fear is, what I need to do for Krishna. When I think of him, I see him. I see him, literally see him. Like I want to see, I used to play with Krishna, like I want to see you, Krishna, now immediately. Like that I used to, like a child, I used to play with him. Immediately I see the statue of Krishna or name of Krishna or anything related to Krishna, I see him literally. That on that moment I cry. The tears flow out of my eyes. My only incapability is this physical plane. I couldn't suffer or I couldn't dedicate myself to Krishna. I deeply desire to sacrifice myself for Krishna, but I don't know how to do that. My soul is craving to join with Krishna in all way, but this physical plane is, distracting me, diverting me, confusing me. All those mayas is making me to not to close it. I even submitted my prayer to Krishna. Please help me. I do want to come to you.
That's why he has brought you here.
I do want to come to you. Please help me. I luckily with Mercy of Krishna, I got a job offer in London. So I'll be moving London shortly. But I do want to sacrifice my life all utmost to the Krishna. But just give me suggestions what I need to do in future.
It's simple. What you have to do is you have to first understand you are in a very fortunate position. Actually, you see, what happens is our life is not limited to this one body. Currently, I may be born as an Indian or as a man, as a woman or whatever. But this is not the only life I have had. I have had many, many lifetimes previously, and in future also I will have. This body is just a passing moment in my existence. In the Krishna gives the example in the Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara. Within this very lifetime, you are born as a small baby. You grow up into a young child. Now you are a young man. Finally, you'll become old. So that body of that baby with which you are born doesn't exist now. The body of the child you had when you were frolicking, playing around and all that doesn't exist now. The body which you are currently having 20 years, 30 years down the line, it will not exist. So in this lifetime itself, we are changing so many bodies. That means even after the point of death, you will continue to exist. Number one. Number two, before you were born in this lifetime, you existed in some other body. Now, when we are born because of our past karmas. whatever desires we have, whatever likings we have, whatever dislikings we have, all those things are carry forwards of our past experiences in different lives. Because what takes us from one body to another body is our subtle body, consisting of mind, intelligence, and false ego. These things carry us from one life to another life. When we die, for us to carry us, to take us from this body and put us into the next mother's womb, it is the subtle body which takes us. And that subtle body carries the impressions from the past lives. Now, in your past life, you have done some great devotional service to Krishna. That is why, innately, intrinsically, you get attracted to Krishna. And that is why I said you are very fortunate, because not everybody has had the opportunity to serve Krishna in their past lives and continue that in the current life. There is a very wonderful example similar to yours in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that of Jada Bharata. Bharat Maharaj was he was the first son of Rishabhadeva, and he became the emperor of this world. Later, at a very young age, he became attracted by Krishna. He gave up his kingdom, his wife, his family, everything, went to the forest. And he started practicing devotional life. Unfortunately, there in that forest, he got attached to a deer. And when he died, he kept thinking of the deer and he died. Next life, he took birth as a deer. Because Krishna says, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tameva iti kaunteya. Whatever we remember and we quit our body, we achieve that. Because that Bharat Maharaj thought of the deer and quit his body, next lifetime he became a deer. But because he had rendered devotional service to Krishna, even in the body of the deer, he remembered his past life. And therefore, even though he was in the body of a deer, he would always go and find out in the forest some ashram of the sages where they would be discussing Krishna Katha. And after spending his life like this, next birth, again he was born as Jada Bharata, where he remembered his past 2 lives. And he continued to be a devotee of Krishna. And in the life of Jada Bharata, he perfected his life and went back to Godhead. So it is possible to carry vivid, in the case of Bharat Maharaj, he carried vivid remembrance of his past lives. In your case, such vivid remembrance is not there. But that attraction for Krishna is there because it is carried over from your past life. Now, the question comes, so that is the reason why you have that automatic attraction for Krishna. You understood? It is the result of your hard work and devotional service which you have done in your past life, which is giving you that attraction towards Krishna. That's point number 1. Point number 2. Now, what do you do? How do you, you are having that desire that this kind of attraction is there. I want to go and approach Krishna, but I don't know how to do it. Now, how to do it? Now, suppose you love a girl very strongly. I'm giving an example which we can all relate with. A simple example. Suppose in your youth, you get attracted to a girl. You have a crush on somebody. Now, if you think, I'm deeply in love with this girl. I want to make her my life partner. So what should I do? How do I know whether she loves me or not? Now, you can go on speculating in your mind. Does she love me? Does she not love me? Today she looked at me. Today she smiled at me. Today she said good morning. What does it mean? You can go on speculating. On the other hand, if you go and ask her, or somebody comes and tells you that you see, she has sent you a recorded message, or she has sent you a letter, and you open that letter, and she starts telling her feelings, then what happens? You understand, oh, now I understood what is her feeling. So, if you want to know what the other person is feeling, or what the other person wants from you, the best way is to hear from that person. Am I right? It's a very simple thing. So if you want to know what Krishna wants you to do, what is the simple thing that you have to do? You have to hear from Krishna himself what he wants you to do. And how do you hear from Krishna what he wants you to do? He has written a letter to you, which is Bhagavad Gita. If you read the Bhagavad Gita, what is the Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is Krishna's love letter to all of us, telling us that he loves us and he is waiting for us to go towards him. In the Upanishads, in the Katha Upanishad and other places, it is said, Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. There are 2 birds sitting on the same tree, and both of them are friends. And one bird is going on tasting the fruits of the tree, which are sometimes bitter, sometimes they are sweet. The other bird, he is sitting, he is not tasting the fruits of the tree. He is waiting, when will my friend turn and look towards me? He is neglecting me now. So this allegorical the description is given in the Upanishads to explain how I, as the Atma, I am there in the heart. This body is like a tree, and I am like a bird sitting on the tree. I am in this body. Along with me, Krishna is there as Paramatma within my heart. He is always accompanying me. So what you said is right. Krishna is there everywhere. I am not able to see. Why? Because I am conditioned now to thinking I am this body. Therefore, I am not able to see. But Krishna is right there with me in my heart. And he is waiting, when will you turn towards me? And Krishna, what he does is, he gives the message of the Bhagavad Gita for all those people who have developed that desire that I want to know about my dear friend. I want to know about Krishna. So, believe me, Krishna is expressing his love for all of us through the Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, it is a real love letter from Krishna to all of us. And he has told what we have to do, how we have to realize him, how we can develop that love for Krishna to the extent that we will be able to sit in front of Krishna and talk to him like you and I are talking together. It is very much possible. It is part of the process of Bhakti Yoga. So for that, we have to develop the adhikara. We have to become, nobody can go and, if I want to meet the Prime Minister today, I just cannot barge into his place. If I go to that, Prime Minister's house in Delhi, if I go near that gate, the police will catch me and put me behind bars. Why is this guy coming here? I want to see the Prime Minister. I am in love with him. That's all. They'll think this guy is definitely a terrorist. On the other hand, if you become highly qualified, you have done some really great activity, you have done something, so you have achieved something very great for the country. Prime Minister will send message to you. I want to see this man. Call him. I've heard that he has done something great. Then what will happen is, the Prime Minister's office, they will call you, dear sir, Prime Minister is calling. He wants to meet you. When can you come, please? And then when you go to the Prime Minister's place, what will happen? All the police will come. Oh, you are the person? Prime Minister has called. Come. They will come and welcome you and take you inside. So if I want to see the Prime Minister, very tough, next to impossible. If the Prime Minister wants to see me, very easy. So I want to see Krishna, very tough. If I act in such a way that Krishna decides to see me, then very easy. So we have to act in such a way that Krishna desires to see us. How is that? Follow the Bhagavad Gita. If we follow the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, we chant Hare Krishna mantra every day, we read the Bhagavad Gita, we follow the instructions Prabhupada has given us strictly, then without fail, Krishna will come in front of us and he will start talking to us and he will take us back to Godhead, back to Krishna Loka, where we can permanently be with him 24 hours looking at his lotus face and enjoying the beauty of his lotus face. Very much possible. So, the answer to your question is very simple. Please start chanting Hare Krishna mantra, read all of Prabhupada's books, and Krishna will guide you for the rest of the thing. That is why Guru is required. Without Guru, we will not know how to approach that Krishna. Fortunately for you, in some past life, some devotional service you have done, but now you have forgotten that what you have done, how you have done, you have forgotten. So if you want guidance, then Srila Prabhupada, you have to accept him as your spiritual master and read his books, take the instructions and follow them without fail. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bahavo jnana tapasa bhuta madbhavam agataha. Many people in the past, by following the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, have developed, have revived their forgotten love for me, and they have come back to me, Krishna says. So you are not the first person, you are not the last person. There are many people who have in the past also, they have followed the path of Bhakti Yoga given in the Bhagavad Gita and perfected their life and gone back to Godhead where they can constantly live in the association of Krishna. In fact, this movement of ours, which Srila Prabhupada has established, is for the express purpose of only this, to give an opportunity for all those people whose only goal in life is to go back to Krishna and be with him permanently. So, this whole movement is meant for that purpose. You are most welcome to read the books of Prabhupada, understand them, and the doors of knowledge will be revealed, and you will not have any doubt how to progress back to Godhead. Is that okay?
With your permission, I'd like to dedicate chant to Krishna. I know he's listening to me, that I'm here. So, to him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. You are a very good singer. You should engage your singing talent in singing Hare Krishna mantra and pleasing Krishna and Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
My question is how we can escape from onion and garlics.
How we can?
How we can escape from onions and garlics
Okay.
if our family is not supporting. Is there any exception to it, or there is no exception?
The only way is continue chanting Hare Krishna. Please pray to Krishna and Prabhupada. They will guide you and they will help you. They will create an opportunity where you will be able to avoid. Actually, it is a very practical thing. There is no shortcut. There is no compromise that can happen there. You have to become serious and decide that I don't want to eat. That's the end of it. You know, practically what used to happen when I started chanting Hare Krishna mantra, when I started following all the principles and all that, the natural process of Bhakti Yoga is such that automatically, internally, you will develop aversion to eating onion, garlic, drinking coffee and tea. Natural. Nobody has to force you. Nobody told me to give up eating onion and garlic. One fine day I lost the taste. Actually, before I came in touch with Prabhupada and came in touch with chanting Hare Krishna mantra, my favorite sambar was onion sambar. My favorite fry was onion pakoda. Onion was, you cannot live without that. It was like that. But then when I started chanting Hare Krishna mantra, when I came to the point of chanting 4 rounds, I lost the taste. I didn't want to eat. So mother, as usual, would make onion sambar at home. I will take out all the onion, keep it aside, eat the rest of the sambar and throw it. My mother started asking, why? What happened? I said, I don't like onion. I'm not eating. She stopped making onion sambar. And she knows if she makes anything with onion, I will not eat. So she stopped using onion. Now others my father, my sister, they all started scolding my mother. What is this? You have stopped using onion. At least once in a while you should make, no? So she would make one dish for them, one dish for me. Although I never asked my mother. My mother was, lovingly, she thought, okay, son doesn't like it. Let me make something separately. But otherwise, my principle was very clear. I make anything with onion, I will separate out the onion and eat the rest. I started like that. Gradually, as time went by, you put onion into something, I will not even touch that. It became like that. Oh, today sambar with onion? No sambar. Rice and curd. Enough. Over. Then it came to such a level that, you cannot live constantly like that. I said, okay, you cook for yourself, I'll cook for myself. I started cooking for myself, offering and eating. Then gradually what happened? Then, family also accepted, this guy is like this. He has gone crazy. He's like this. They also accepted. It became part of life. We have to become determined. There is no other alternative. We have to show our determination that Krishna, I want you. If we don't show that determination, Krishna will not help. Krishna helps those who help themselves. If you take the first step, then Krishna will create circumstances in your life where you will be able to follow all the rules and regulations. There are many devotees I have come across who say that very easy for them to follow without onion and garlic, eating food without onion and garlic. Whenever they travel, they go outside also, somewhere they will find something to eat and they will manage. There are others who come and tell, very difficult, Prabhu. Wherever I go, everywhere I find onion, garlic, onion, garlic, onion, garlic. Both kinds of people. It all depends upon your determination. If you are really determined, come what may, I have decided I am not going to touch it. Then Krishna will guide you. He will help you. He will ultimately, what is Krishna? Krishna is the person who is actually maintaining everyone. Nityo nityanam, chetanas chetananam, eko yo bhunam vidadati kaman. All the animals, elephants in the jungle, they are eating 800 kgs, 1 ton of food every day. Who is providing them all that food? Is the elephant going to the factory and earning his salary and then spending it and then cooking all his food? No. He doesn't have to go to the factory and earn money and all that. Every day his food is assured. If 800 kgs of food can be assured to an animal without a job, then if I have become a devotee of Krishna, will Krishna not give me food without onion and garlic? Very small thing I am asking. No. Krishna will take care. We have to have that confidence, and we have to be determined that for Krishna, I want to please Krishna and Prabhupada, I will follow that without fail. If you are determined, then Krishna will help. Simple. Okay, we'll stop here. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.